Good evening, everybody, and welcome to episode 46 of the Lolio Line podcast with my colleagues Blake Huell and Daniel Ford. I'm Joseph Landy Pavlon, and we are going to talk about the Daytona 500 and everything that happened in this past Daytona Speed Weeks. But first, we do have breaking news. Ryan Newman had a serious crash at the end of the Daytona 500, fighting for the victory against Ryan Blaney and Denny Hamlin. When Newman's car was turned after aggressive push by Ryan Blaney and a block. He was sent hard into the outside wall before catching air. And once it turned over, he was hit driver's area first by Corey LaJoie's car, who had no time to dodge at all. And Denny Hamlin went on to win the race. His third Daytona 500 win in history. He's joining in an elite class. We'll get more into this in a little bit. But let's talk about the 60-second running of the Great American Race. Let's backtrack a little bit to yesterday. We had the president. We had all this hype. Everybody was excited. Pageantry, you know the deal.
Yeah.
And then the rain.
Mother Nature, did her thing, and that kind of postponed the race until today, which we started at 4 p.m.
Right. We did have 20 laps completed from yesterday in the Daytona 500 that was led only by Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Every car was on the lead lap. So it was almost like a new race began today at 4 o'clock this afternoon. So when that happened, of course, the race was basically back to square one. And Ricky Stenhouse Jr. had a very fast car. In fact, he led 24 laps in the race. So outside of the first 20, he only led 4 more laps. I guess the field had an extra night to sleep thinking about what they're going to do to stop him from winning the race from the pole. And then, of course, you look further on in the race. We had some incidents. William Byron and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. on the backstretch. And, of course, we had a little moment with Quinn Houff, Eric Almirola, and BJ McLeod. Let's fast forward up to lap 185. It was a pretty uneventful race. We had some pit stops and the usual stuff. But on lap 185, we had our first big wreck. It was on the backstretch when Eric Almirola got a push from Joey Logano, and Almirola had too much momentum for Brad Keselowski to handle.
Yeah, and it wasn't pretty. It was a big one.
Right. It took out not the aforementioned Brad Keselowski, Eric Almirola, but also drivers like Ty Dillon, Kurt Busch, Jimmy Johnson, who was on the headlines, and he had a fast car. Bubba Wallace, Ryan Blaney was in the grass for a moment, and he's still driver of discussion later. We saw Alex Bowman, Justin Haley, Ross Chastain, John Hunter Nemechek, and the 36 of David Reagan, along with Tyler Reddick, a rookie driver, Chris Buescher, Matt DiBenedetto, Brendan Gaughan, all wrecking the backstretch, which was the first significant incident of the race, I'd say. But let's take a look at the next incident. It was a smaller one off turn 2 involving the 27 of Reed Sorensen and Timmy Hill. Both drivers fought to get into the race, and they had an incident on the backstretch, and that was also the end of Alex Bowman's chances to win the 500 because he had a blow up on the tire. Now, we had a run to the end, 2 laps to go into regulation. Ryan Preece was running second. Ross Chastain had a big run, and he drove the 77 car for Spire. Just as when he got into turn 1, the tire went down, and he just slid right into Joey Logano and Ryan Preece, as well as many other favorites such as Ty Dillon again, Eric Almirola, Christopher Bell, who was up front in the last 10 laps, as well as the 34 of Michael McDowell. Chase Elliott was in it as well. So there was that. And, of course, we had another incident that involved Clint Bowyer. It was actually on the front stretch in the tri-oval. Clint Bowyer with Michael McDowell and Justin Haley. Now let's talk about the finish. So Ryan Newman and Denny Hamlin were nose to tail. They were on the backstretch, and Newman got this big push from Ryan Blaney. And they were on the backstretch, he had such a run. Off turn 4, Newman and Blaney were basically weaving, going high, he goes low, he goes low. Blaney has so much momentum right now. It's too much to handle. Clips the rear end of Ryan Newman's car, sending him straight to the wall, and it turned over. It caught air. The scary part, of course, being Corey LaJoie hitting the cockpit first section of Ryan Newman's number 6 Roush Fenway Ford. Denny Hamlin and Ryan Blaney went side by side. Hamlin snuck past Blaney just in time to win his 3rd Daytona 500 and 2nd consecutive victory. Denny Hamlin, let's talk about Hamlin now. He's an elite company. 2016, we saw him edge out Truex. Last year, he was class of the field. This year, he established himself. And I think, in my opinion, Denny Hamlin deserved this win. It was an ugly way for this to happen. I don't think we wanted to see any of that. So, as we speak right now, the updates we have, Ryan Newman has been taken to a trauma center. This was a report from NASCAR, NASCAR page 24/7 on Facebook. I'm not too fond about them because they make a lot of hideous
because they end up having
politics.
Yeah.
Right? But they always have a person attending a race making posts. And what I saw from the post is that they put black screen and tarp around Ryan Newman's car. Now, I've seen that before in auto racing. That's never a good sight. And personally, we all need to just become human beings during times like this. We need to look at each other and have whatever differences and put them to the side. This is a serious situation. We don't want to see this ever in motorsports. This is the price drivers pay when they do what they love.
Yeah.
Exactly. And as we all know, the famous saying is, it's the way it goes. It's dangerous. We all know that. But we love it. And we don't stop watching it because of this, but we acknowledge that these things happen.
Yeah.
There's this tweet that I just saw. I think it might be gone now. Yeah. It was about, we watch this sport, so we have this getaway, once a must turn to the sport, particularly just to get away from so much drama in our lives. And it's like a big family, no one just judging
People
each other.
come together to watch NASCAR.
We come together no matter what driver or who we cheer for. We all just come together and enjoy ourselves. And right now, this big family in motorsports we just like shocked right now.
Yeah, and I think
like so many things have happened like during the off season, and for the beginning of the season to start, it's just
it dampens the mood. I think it
dampens the mood.
What I want to say though is that this is motorsports. These drivers put everything out there, and in times like this is when we have to just be people. Our criticism aside, let's talk about the finishing order of the 500. So Denny Hamlin won the race. He led 79 laps. Just brilliant performance. He led more than anyone else today. Ryan Blaney finished second, started 27th and led 4 laps. He was involved in the wreck, almost came back and won the thing. Just like 2018, it fell short. And looking down the results, Chris Buescher, David Reagan, Kevin Harvick, Clint Boyer, Brendan Gaughan, Corey LaJoie, the aforementioned Ryan Newman, he led 15 laps. Kyle Larson brought in the top 10. But let's get into some notables here. Chase Elliott led 23 laps. He won stage 1. He had a wreck, finished 17th. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., the pole sitter, was involved in incidents, led 24 laps. And moving down the list, Brad Keselowski led 30 laps. He was involved in the big one on the backstretch and had to settle for 36. Kyle Busch led 14 laps. His engine gave way. It's another year.
Yeah. Lady Luck hands another bad hand to Kyle Busch.
As Ken Squire said during the 1997 Daytona 500, where Dale Earnhardt seemed to be the favorite, he ended up upside down in the backstretch.
Yeah.
And then, of course,
let's not also forget the one of the few rookies this year, Christopher Bell, had a good showing, and sadly it was cut short by some mechanical issues.
That's right.
But he had a good run. This was his first Daytona 500, and he did well.
He's got more to come. And you know what? Let's get into the Daytona 500 stats. Denny Hamlin won his third Daytona 500. This is just great elite company. I mean, to see this, he's a 3-time Daytona 500 winner, meaning he's now joined a club with drivers of Jeff Gordon, Dale Jarrett, and Bobby Allison. He's 1 win away from tying Cale Yarbrough as being the second winningest driver in Daytona 500 history, and 4 more from Richard Petty. 7 of all time. Joe Gibbs Racing gets their 4th Daytona 500 win, joining a club of their own, because no one else has 4 Daytona 500 wins, but they're 1 away from tying the Wood brothers. As Petty Enterprises still has 1, Hendrick Motorsports has 8. Toyota gets their 3rd Daytona 500 win, all with Denny Hamlin. And just a great performance out of him. I think, Denny Hamlin doesn't win a championship, or whether he wins this title or not, should it matter? If we put Dale Jr. in the lead company for winning 2 Daytona 500s and not winning a championship, then we should absolutely do the same at this point for Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, I think we should. Despite being everyone saying that, we all seen what happened with Johnson. The only person, I shouldn't even say the only person, well, the only active driver right now that won a race in the championship, the 500 and the championship that same year is Jimmy Johnson.
He's the last driver to do it, actually.
He's the last driver to do it.
And he did it twice. But, I think if this is Denny Hamlin's year, and I said this in the podcast before, this could be his year. He started off the best way he can, winning the Daytona 500. Now you have all the momentum to come to Las Vegas this weekend and back it up. Now, he's never won there before, but I certainly think that this could up the chances of Denny Hamlin winning at Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Exactly. Even going down to mental state, coming off a win, you're coming off a high, and it just makes you stronger.
That's right. So now let's go ahead and hop into the Xfinity Series and talk a little bit about what we saw in the Daytona 300. That was the first of 33 races of the Xfinity Series Tour. Congratulations to Noah Gragson. He led 15 laps and started 12th, winning for the first time in his career for junior motorsports. Noah Gragson is a fan favorite on social media by many, especially for the young group of clubs, and he goes well with women and female fans. This is a people's person. If you've not seen a Noah Gragson post on Instagram or Twitter, then you don't know what I'm talking about. This guy is the new real deal. He led 15 laps from the 12th position, and I think he's not going to stop winning. Harrison Burton, however, he's going to see his first career win, though. He got his best career finish on Saturday of second, leading 9 laps from 8th on the grid. And speaking of career best finishes, congratulations to Carl Long and Timmy Hill. Third place finish, they led a lap. They started 20th. Timmy Hill's best career finish as a driver, and for Carl Long, best career finish as an owner. Hands down. That was amazing. Brandon Jones started 6th. He finished 4th. Chase Briscoe led 5 laps, finished 5th. He started 10th. Justin Haley started 6th. Finished 6th from 3rd on the grid. Brandon Brown started 11th. Finished 7th. Ray Black Jr. got his best career finish of 8th in his first top 10. Started 16th. Ryan Sieg started 9th, finished 9th. And Alex Labe finished 10th. He started 19th and led 19 laps. So there's that. Let's take a look at some of the notables that finished in the race. We had Michael Annett that started 2nd. Last year's winner, he finished 11th. JJ Yaley started 34th, got 12th. Listen to this. Joe Nemechek finished 15th, started 36th. That's Mike Harmon Racing's best finish as a team. And guess what? Mike Harmon finished 16th, started 35th. As a driver, that's his best career finish ever. We're talking about one of the slowest teams in the history of NASCAR's top 3 series.
Starting 36th, finished 15th. That's a big move.
Yeah, that is a big move.
But they stayed out of trouble. That's the secret key to Daytona success. Let's move on down to Jeb Burton. He led 26 laps, crashed out, finished 23rd. He started 24th. Justin Allgaier started 13th, crashed out as well. He led 23 laps, finished 30th. Myatt Snyder, the pole sitter, in his very first Xfinity start, led 22 laps from the pole in his debut race. He crashed out, finished 33rd. So their next race will be round 2 of 33 at Las Vegas for a 300-mile race over there. Anything you guys want to say about Xfinity?
You know, as much as I didn't see the Xfinity race though from start to finish, I did at least got to see the finish. And with the last lap with Noah Gragson taking a wide, and then there's a big wreck behind them, I think they should have let them race back to the green flag. No, to the checkers. But unfortunately, the caution came out, and then, that ended the race right there. But at least Noah Gragson gets a win this year, his first win this year in the Xfinity Series, and locks himself into the playoffs.
Yeah, and this 12-driver playoffs, it's after later in the season. I think it's a great way to go. You always want to start high, and he's going to come to his hometown at Las Vegas, Nevada for his chance to go back-to-back. All right, and as you know, since the first race is over, I'm not going into the standings. The standings obviously match the results. And let's dig into the trucks. So they had their Daytona 250. It was the 20-year anniversary of their inaugural race. And unfortunately, like what's happening now is a similar situation to what happened in that first race with Jeffrey Bodine. But let's get into this. Grant Enfinger won. He scored his 3rd career win, led 41 laps, and started 11th, my bad. He won just a nose over Jordan Anderson, who started 23rd and got his career best finish. Jordan Anderson is a privateer owner driver who carries his own trucks, and he is pretty much a journeyman, one of NASCAR's journeyman team owners.
Yeah.
Similar to what you see from a guy like BJ McLeod or Ryan Sieg. He has his own equipment and brings them everywhere. And I'm excited to see Jordan Anderson in the future, for sure. He was elated. It felt like a win to him. Speaking of elation, Cody Warbaugh finished third. His best career finish, he started 21st. And it doesn't stop there. Derek Kraus started 16th, finished 4th. His best career finish. Natalie Decker started 30th, finished 5th. Her best career finish. Everyone from 2 to 5th had their best career finish in the truck series. Derek Kraus, Natalie Decker, 2 Wisconsin natives, giving people from Wisconsin a reason to cheer. Austin Hill, who won the race last year, finished 6th. He led 11 laps, started 15th. Johnny Sauter, the winningest driver in the trucks at Daytona, started 5th, finished 7th. Ross Chastain finished 8th from 4th on the grid. Sheldon Creed finished 9th. He led 2 laps from 12th on the grid. And Jason White from British Columbia, Canada, finished 10th, started 31st, second to last, basically, in his career best finish. And let's get into the rest of the notables here that I wrote down. Riley Herbst led 21 laps from the pole, finished 12th. Brett Moffitt finished 13th, started 2nd. Matt Crafton started 10th, finished 15th. Stuart Friesen led 13 laps from 21st, started 28th. Ben Rhodes led 17 laps from 25th on the grid, and he crashed out at the end, started 13th. Tyler Ankrum led a lap from 27th on the grid, started 7th. Austin Winself started 24th. He was involved in a crash with Ty Majeski, who started 17th. They finished 31st and 32nd, respectively. Let's get into the trucks now. Their next race is at Las Vegas. It's a 200-mile race for the second round of 23 races. Who's the favorite going? Actually, we'll get into that later. But who impressed you the most from Daytona?
I mean, that's a hard pick. We had a lot of impressive drives.
Yeah,
a lot of firsts.
So that's what the deal is with the truck series. I think we had a very entertaining race. And the truck series never fails to disappoint. We have so much competition, more than ever. Next race at Las Vegas is going to be even more fun to watch, especially since Kyle Busch is going to be there. And we're going to see how the winningest driver in the truck series can fare out with some of these other guys. Let's get into sports cars. We did have a race in Sepang, Malaysia, a night race, in fact, in the 4 hours of Sepang. It was the third of 4 races in the Asian Le Mans series. And it had a controversial finish where the number 36 Eurasia team got a time penalty for a light infraction. Their tail light wasn't working, I believe. I have to double check. And they gave the win to Carlin Racing, number 45. So the 36 Eurasia got taken away the win in a controversial fashion. G-Drive Racing finished third. K2 Vicino finished fourth, number 96. Inter Europols, number 34 and 35, got fifth and sixth, and seventh was the number 1 Eurasia. LMP2 AM was all Rick Rowe Racing. There were 2 entries, both from the team. Congratulations to the 52 Rick Rowe Racing over the 25 Rick Rowe Racing. LMP3 was the number 9 Graf over the number 3 Nielsen. Number 13 Inter Europol had third place finish. Number 2 Nielsen finished fourth, and the number 12 Ace 1 Villa Corsa finished fifth. GT3 had the number 88 J-Lock Lamborghini. The 27 Hub Auto Corsa Ferrari got second. The Spirit of Race Ferrari, number 51, got third. The number 75 T2 Motorsports Ferrari got 4th. The number 7 Car Guy Ferrari got 5th. And the number 77 D Station Aston Martin Racing got 6th, number 77. Their next race is this weekend at Buri, Thailand, at the Chang International Circuit for round 4 to kick off the season, or to wrap up the season. So let's get into the LMP2 standings. It's pretty much number 26 G Drive Racing, 65 points over the number 45 Carlin with 56 points. The number 36 Eurasia has 55 points, while the number 33 Inter Europol has 30 points, and the number 34 Inter Europol has 22 points. So now let's go to LP2M. The number 52 Rickware Racing has 68 points, so they're long gone now. The number 59 LRM Sport has 26 points, and the number 25 Rickware Racing has 19 points, while the 4 ARC Bratislava, actually the 14, got 16 points. Let's get into actually LMP3 and GT. We'll get this real quick. I know it's a trying time right now for a lot of us, so sorry if I'm not up to par. The number 13 Inter Europol leads the LMP3 championship with 59 points over the number 2 Nielsen with 56 points. So it's a 3-point battle. It's going to come down to those two in the fight for the what's it called? For the championship. The Graf number 9 has 40 points, so there's 19 points behind the leader. The number 12 Ace one Villabora Corsa has 37 points, and the number 3 Nielsen has 27 points. In GT, it's very tight. We have the number 88 J-Lock with 49 points. The number 7 Car Guy has 46 points, tied with the number 27 Hub Auto Corsa with 46 points as well. The number 51 Spirit of Race Ferrari has 42 points, and the number 77 D Station Aston Martin has 53 points. So this weekend is the 4 hours of Buriram and Chang International Circuit to wrap up the Asian Le Mans series. It's been an unfortunate run for them because the coronavirus outbreak has resulted in the withdrawal of a few teams, leading to a 23-car overall grid.
Yeah.
On Saturday for the race. So let's get into a few miscellaneous races that happened. We had actually 3 of them. Let's get into those. So let's start off with Formula E, the Mexico E-Prix, round 4 of 13. I'm saying 13 because there's no announcement of the Sanya E-Prix, which is in China, and of course because the coronavirus outbreak that's going on over there, the Formula E decided to postpone the event, not cancel, postpone. So we're not 14 for now. We're at 13. Mitch Evans won. He won. He also got the extra point for a group stage win over Felix da Costa, Sebastian Buemi, Jean-Eric Verne, and Alex Sims. Alexander Sims got the fastest lap award, so he got an extra point from there. And the standings look like this. It's tight between 2 drivers, Mitch Evans, Alexander Sims, and Antonio Felix da Costa. So 47 points for Evans, Sims with 46. Felix da Costa has 39 points. Stoffel Van Dorn, who lost the points lead in this one, has 38 points, and Lucas de Grassi has 32 points. As for the Constructors' Championship looks, we have Andretti BMW leading with 71 points. Jaguar is second with 57 points. Mercedes is third with 56 points. Chichita Diaz has 55 points, and Ida Nissan has 43 points. Their next race is in Marrakesh, Morocco, round 5 of 13. Monster Energy Supercross had a race this past weekend as well in Tampa Bay, Florida at the Raymond James Stadium, which is home of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Eli Tomac won the race in his Kawasaki over Cooper Webb's KTM. Kim Roxon's Honda, Justin Barcia's Yamaha, and Justin Hill's Honda. And in the standings, it looks like this. Eli Tomac has 155 points over Ken Roxon, who has 151 points. Cooper Webb has 144 points in third. Justin Barcia is fourth with 135 points. And Adam Cianciarulo has 128 points, sitting in fifth. Their next race is this weekend at Arlington, Texas for round 8 of 17. So, yeah, Roczen got to get back up there because Eli Tomac, when he's consistent, he's hard to stop.
Roczen also has to be consistent as well. He is third or he's second in points or third? Third?
Roczen's second in points. He's 4 points behind
4
Eli
points
Tomac.
behind. If he is just consistent enough and gets wins on top of that, he can also get a championship. Might pave his way towards a championship.
Good, though. He may be behind in second, but it's sure looking good.
Yeah.
Let's get into the last race under the miscellaneous category, which we had the ARCA Menard Series East, which was used to be called the NASCAR Can-Am Pro Series East. They have an 8-race calendar. Their first race began just a little bit south of Daytona in the New Smyrna Speedway in New Smyrna Beach, Florida. Sam Ayer, who won the championship last year, came out strong again. He led 27 laps, not 127. Griffith led 74 laps, finished second. Ty Gibbs finished third, led 4 laps. Nick Sanchez finished fourth, and Bramante finished fifth. So there's that. Upcoming. So let's talk about the races that are upcoming now. We have the Cup Series at Las Vegas, round 2 of 36. The Xfinity Series, we'll get into the Las Vegas 300, round 2 of 33. Trucks have the Las Vegas Strat 200, round 2 of 23. Supercars return for 2020, and we'll get into a little bit more of their situation later. The Adelaide 500, formerly known as the Clipsal 500, that's week 1 of 14, rounds 1 and 2 of 28. Sports cars have 2 major events this weekend. The FIA World Endurance Championship returns to the 6 hours of COTA for round 5 of 8 in Austin, Texas. And in Chang International Circuit in Birmingham, Thailand, we had the season finale to the Asian Le Mans Series, round 4 of 4. So let's start off with the Las Vegas 400. Round 2 of 36, of course. Last year's winners was Joey Logano and Martin Truex Jr. And the first race was back in 1998, won by Mark Martin. Jimmy Johnson has the number for most victories at 4 over Matt Kenseth, Brad Keselowski, Jeff Burton, Carl Edwards, and Kevin Harvick. Most team wins has Roush Family Racing with 7, Hendrick Motorsports with 5, Team Penske with 4, Joe Gibbs Racing and Stewart Haas Racing with 3 apiece. Most make wins, Ford has 12, Chevy with 7, 4 for Toyota and 1 for Dodge. Let's get into our predictions now. So race 1 in the books, race 2 is our real true testament to the season in NASCAR. They're on a 1.5-mile circuit, which makes up the majority of the season. Where does this stand? How do these drivers go? And who's in favor? I'm going to throw in a name, Alex Bowman.
I think another question we have that will be answered is, how is the new package going to perform on a 1.5-mile oval as opposed to a super speedway?
That's a very good question, because 1.5 is different. They use a shorter horsepower, 550 horsepower. Their average is actually what they had last year.
Yeah.
And I'm just narrowing it down to some drivers. I think Kevin Harvick is going to have the upper end here. With throwing Alex Bowman, we've seen an improvement in him in the 1.5s. There's something that, for what I've seen on Alex Bowman, he's impressive. He almost won Kansas. He blew us away at Chicago with that win. And he could have won Kansas again. He had a great car at Vegas. Fell short. How would they deal going into Vegas? Can Alex Bowman win? Because I'm putting my money down on him.
Mm. That's a good one, man. That's a good one.
Yeah, I think Alex Bowman is a pretty good pick, but we'll have to wait and see.
Right. So let's put down our predictions for the Vegas race. For the drivers we know now, I'm going to go with Alex Bowman. Justin, if you're watching, I know he had to go to bed early because he's in Atlantic time, so it's 10 o'clock in his area. So he couldn't make it with us today, or tonight, excuse me. But he's going to be happy when he hears this podcast tomorrow morning saying, I believe Alex Bowman's going to win.
Yeah.
What do you guys have?
I think I also have Alex Bowman.
You know what? I think I might go a different route and go with Byron.
So we all have Hendrick cars.
Yeah.
This is fun. So that is said. Now let's move on to the NASCAR Xfinity Series, their Las Vegas 300. It's their second of 33 races. Last year's winners were Kyle Busch and Tyler Reddick. Jeff Green won the inaugural race back in 1997. And the driver with most wins is Mark Martin over Jeff Burton. They were teammates at the time. Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch share the number of 2 wins. Kyle Busch, including last year in 2016. Most team wins, Roush Fenway Racing leads that list just like the Cup Series with 6 wins. Richard Childress Racing has 4 wins. Team Penske has 3, and Joe Gibbs Racing has 2. Most make wins. Chevy with 13, Ford with 9, Toyota has 2, Dodge has 1. Who's going to win this Xfinity race? We have Tyler Reddick, Christopher Bell, Cole Custer out. But who we have in? Kyle Busch.
Busch. Oh, boy.
I think personally Kyle Busch might be the man. I want to take the easy way out. Kyle Busch is going to win the race.
Who do we have out?
I'm putting Kyle Busch down. He's going to win. Wait. I don't know if he's on the entry list. I don't even know if they have a car. I'm going to take that back. Harrison Burton's going to win.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with Harrison Burton as well.
And Blake? Who you got, Blake? Yeah, we do have some technicality issues with Blake right now, so we will return to him. Let's get into the trucks. And I know I kind of want to rush this podcast. I don't want to rush it, but, just with the mood that's going on, we've had better podcasts.
We've had better days, man.
Yeah. Let's get into the truck series. Las Vegas 200. This is round 2 of 23. Kyle Busch and Austin Hill won the races last year. Jack Sprague won the inaugural race at Las Vegas back in 1996. Mike Skinner, and Kyle Busch also list the most wins column with 2 apiece. It's a diverse track for the Truck Series drivers. Let's be real. Most team wins. Thorsport Racing, Roush Fenway Racing, and Kyle Busch Motorsports have 3 apiece, and Hendrick Motorsports and Bill Davis Racing have 2 wins apiece. Most make wins is a tie between Toyota and Chevy with 9, Ford with 5, and Dodge with 2. Who's going to win this one?
I think Grant Inkfinger can get 2 in a row.
Never say never. He's hot. He's won here before. He just won last week.
I think it's a tough call.
All right, it's a tough ordeal. You got a lot of predictions. I think personally, my prediction, it could be Stuart Friesen, but I got to feel better with another driver, someone who's kind of new in these ranks. He was in the playoffs last year after a somewhat controversial way of getting in, but Tyler Ankrum is going to win. Again, he won at Kentucky, a very similar track.
I think Matt Crafton's still in Xfinity, right?
He's in trucks. We're talking truck series.
Oh, sorry, trucks.
We'll get your Xfinity pick after you make your truck pick.
Yeah, I think Ankram's doing good. Yeah, I think I'll go with Ankram.
So Tyler Ankrum. All right, so Tyler Ankrum, and who did you have? You had Grant Enfinger. Right, Danny?
What's that?
You had Grant Enfinger for the truck race?
Yes.
All right. Let's go back to Blake's Xfinity Series pick. So who do you got? Danny and I have Harrison Burton.
But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think I'll make it 3.
All right, 3 soul sweep for Harrison Burton. He's not too bad for the races I've seen him run in Xfinity. I have a lot of good things to say about him, and he hasn't won yet. That's not uncommon when your best career finish is second.
Yeah.
You can only get better than that by finishing one more position. All right, let's get into the Supercar Series. They are back for 2020 for the Adelaide Clipsal 500 for week 1 of their 14-week tour and rounds 1 and 2 of the 28-race season. Racing in the Land Down Under is back. Scott McLaughlin won last year, and the first race was 1999, won by Craig Lowndes. Most wins, Jamie Whincup leads that with 4. Shane Van Gisbergen has 3. Mark Scaife, Marcus Ambrose, Garth Tander, and James Courtney have 2 apiece. Most team wins, Holding Racing Team has 7. AAA Race Engineering with 6, and Stone Brothers Racing has 2. Holden owns this list with the most make wins of 14, and Ford has half of them with 7 wins. Who's going to start off on top in 2020?
I think. You know what? I think the momentum from last year is going to keep on. Is going to continue this year with Scott McLaughlin. I have him sweeping the weekend.
I've never seen a
with
more
Adelaide.
dominant driver in auto racing in such a long time, or if ever can compare to the likes of Scott McLaughlin. But I'm going to go with a man who has the 4 victories here that I've just mentioned. Jamie Whincup's going to win 5, and this could be Holden's last hurrah.
Yeah.
Remember, this weekend GM made the announcement that the Holden brand will be retired in 2021. It's a very, very sad deal.
Yeah, it is a very
in the automotive
sad
industry.
Yeah, I know, man. Now the question remains is what manufacturer comes to
I think it's going to be
the Supercar?
Chevrolet. They sell Chevrolets in Australia, although Holden has more presence over there.
Yes.
I just
or maybe even so, can Toyota come into the manufacturer into supercars?
And what does this mean for Nissan and Volvo, the 2 most recent manufacturers that have exited supercars? Does this give them an invitation back?
I was going to say, I wish Volvo would come back.
They left after 2016. Nissan left after last year. We can get more into this discussion later, but there's a race to be ran. So who's your prediction, Blake? I know Dan has Scott McLaughlin. I have Jamie Whincup. Blake, who do you got?
So I'm not picking McLaughlin simply because he's running more than one discipline this year, and I think he might be a little bit distracted with other things. So I'm going to pick Jamie Whincup as well.
All right, so there are predictions. If you don't watch supercars. I suggest this is the season you should do it. It's a great series. It never fails to disappoint. Um, I personally, I love the racing there. There's a different atmosphere that you see in Australian motorsport compared to racing in America. Not taking away from what we have here. It's great, but it's it's great to see all kinds of motorsports. And I've been watching more supercar events than ever. I put everything aside for the Bathurst 1000 nowadays.
Absolutely. It's a stellar event to watch. For our viewers that haven't seen it, you got to watch it. It's one of the
Most prestigious
best.
races.
It's worth staying up late.
It's
Yeah,
absolutely an
it really
event
is
worth
worth staying
watching.
up late.
So let's get into what we have in the FIA World Endurance Championship now. They have a race this weekend. It's the 6 hours of COTA for round 5 of their 8-race tour. Remember, this was supposed to be a race in Sao Paulo. However, due to track promotion failures and just the environment wasn't right, I guess they had to remove that and replace it with COTA. So here we are at Austin, Texas. The last race that was ran was in 2017, won by the Porsche Team 919 Hybrid. They don't exist no more, unfortunately. But two drivers have the most wins: Timo Bernard and Brendan Hartley. For most constructor manufacturers going to win overall, it's Porsche Team with 3 and Audi Sport Team Yost 2. Two teams that are not there anymore. So who's going to win? I mean, the entry list is not really out yet, so we don't have much to say. But who's going to win the LMP1? I think it's probably going to be Toyota. But hey, Rebellion is probably going to do something different because the FIA's done some tweaking. I don't know why they're tweaking on Toyota.
Well, I think what they're trying to do is cater to the fans in the last year of this era of LMP1 racing. But to put that aside, anyways, I think Rebellion could show some speed and possibly challenge Toyota for a win. I'm not going to say that they are going to, definitely, but they may challenge for a win.
You know, never say never with Toyota though, because they have the best drivers. I think it's really gonna come down to what they have in store, the bags and the tricks. And by the way, Rebellion has announced that this will be their last year of racing. Their team is going to close after the 24 Hours of Le Mans in June. It's a sad ordeal because they've always been the number one underdogs in prototype racing. But you know, it's just what we have to do, and that's not what any team wants to do in racing, is to close a team. It's expensive. You need so much fundings to keep a team alive.
Absolutely. And another great example of that is Patron Highcroft Racing way back in prior to 2007, 2008, all the way even back to 2006, 2005. They ran in the American Le Mans Series, ran at the actual 24 Hours of Le Mans twice, I think. And they were very successful. Unfortunately, had to close their doors in 2010, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yes, world-class team from my home state, Connecticut, as well. But anyways, that is another example of that, and it just goes to show racing is very, very expensive, and you know, I mean, these things happen.
I mean, look at Virtual Racing. They were on top of the world. Next year, team shut down.
Yeah, and
That's not like it's not a team, not a decision they want to make.
absolutely, and
But yeah, it's just bad luck, man.
It's just
honestly
another
feel it's
example of what
what
racing teams have to do to keep
it's
themselves
just
rolling.
yeah, exactly. It's the finances, man. And nowadays, in this age, is super super difficult.
Yep.
And you see where these drivers come from. It's not that easy to get into racing, even as a driver, when you don't field their cars. This is the nature we have. And we got a whole season ahead of us. So this is just a start. And before we close off this podcast, because we have reached the end of episode 46 of the Below Yellow Line podcast on World Racing Media, I would like to give some few words. And this goes out, this is in direction to the people on social media. You might call me harsh, but harsh is not strong enough of a word to describe how irate I feel when people speculate over situations that should not be speculated. The Ryan Newman incident at Daytona is an ongoing situation. It's a very unfortunate and horrible, horrible way to have racing on the spotlight. And nobody should be out there blaming people for the incident. I see people blaming Corey LaJoy. I see people blaming Ryan Blaney. Heck, even Denny Hamlin, who was the third car in line. Ryan Blaney, Ryan Newman. Before you guys go out there and tweet or text or just post something nasty about, oh, he did this and that, think about it. Can we just be human? Is it that hard to just feel some compassion right now and put the differences aside? We're all people. We're human beings. It's just a race, but a serious situation is going on right now. And it's kind of sad that we have to deal with these people on social media. They're like parasites. You swipe them off, and then they come back on. So before you go out there and post something, I'd like you to think with your head. Put your think caps on, keep them on. How would person B think about what person A has said?
And more importantly, we need to think that the most important thing to do right now is not blaming. It's not about that. It's about, is Ryan Newman okay? And that's really it. That we just need to be concerned about Ryan Newman's health and is his career over, whatnot. We need to be kind to each
Those
other.
questions should not be asked on social media. It's actually it makes me livid. I think because I have to use kind words because I'm on air. There's certain things I have to follow when I'm behind the microphone, but let's just be human. Let's be real. Ryan Newman, okay, you might think
Most
this
people
about him at
despise him,
Bristol.
you know.
You might think this about him at Bristol. So what? So what? He's just a driver doing what he's got to do.
Yeah, doing what he loves to
Behind
do.
the wheel of these cars. It's not. I mean, it's
Racing
not
drivers are not machines. They're not,
right.
and they're not, for the most part at least, they're not trying to cause wrecks. They're trying to win the race.
Ryan Newman was doing what anybody who has worked years and put so much effort into their lives to be in the position that he was in just a few hours ago. And so are those other drivers. If you knew what they go through on a daily basis to get to where they are on your TV screens, then you should not be commenting on these drivers if it's a negative situation. I'm all for free speech. I'm all for goodwill, free will, whatnot. But in the end, let's be
Let's
good to
all
each
have
other.
common sense.
You said it right.
You can have your opinion, but be respectful about it. Most importantly,
I didn't want to do this podcast. I really wish that I had the option to sleep on it. But if I knew I slept on it, this podcast may have been in a sense that no one wanted to be in tomorrow. I didn't want to have to dread talking about this.
Yeah.
And I had to get myself together, and here I am. You did the same. Blake did the same. And I give you two credit. I'm glad we're here. It's a tough time, but we've had better episodes, and I'm glad to you guys who've joined in. Thank you for contributing. World Racing Media, is probably one of my favorite things I've done so far, just as a person. I'm only 21 years old. I feel thankful, that I have this opportunity. And not too many people have this. So I try to be grateful. And, everyone has to be grateful. The fans need to be grateful that their drivers are able to come back and race the next week. We take that for granted. And we've had a reality check tonight.
Yeah.
It was one of the most horrible things I've seen in a long time. As a race fan, I'm not all about comparing it. That's not why I'm here. I'm here to bring stories, to paint the picture. This is what we do. And we'll be back next week, hopefully in a much better sense. My thoughts go out to Ryan Newman, his family, kid, Chrissy, just Jack Roush. Congratulations, Denny Hamlin. And this is a trying time for a lot of race fans.
Yeah, it really is, man.
We can't act like this did not exist. And
don't
back next week.
And for anybody else who says that we don't, racing drivers don't have any emotions, just don't ever say that, man.
Look at the paddock.
Look at the paddock, man. Look at the garage area. Everyone
Do you think Denny Hamlin wants to be taking pictures right now?
No. Yeah, man. Yeah.
And I think no one should be out there criticizing him celebrating a win when he doesn't know what's going on. No one knows what's going on. And plus, sometimes you just have to think one way and maybe think about something else. It's tough, but guess what? We're all people in the end. I've said this 1,000 times on the podcast. Let's just be human beings, good human beings to each other, good people. That's how I live by every day. We'll be back next week. We'll talk about Las Vegas and supercars, as well as the 2 sports car races that happened. One in Birmingham and Circuit of the Americas. We'll get into Adelaide. So yeah, thank you very much for watching the Below the Yellow Line podcast episode 46. We'll be back for episode 37. For my partners, Daniel Ford, Blake the Disc Break Huel, I'm Joe Delaney Pavlon, signing off.